Have you ever wondered why some people seem to bounce back from losing someone they love while others get stuck in grief for years? Today I'm going to share something that completely changed how I understand loss and might just transform how you handle the hardest moments in your life. 3 years ago, I thought I knew everything about grief. Then I lost my grandmother, the woman who practically raised me, and I discovered I knew absolutely nothing. What I learned in the months that followed wasn't just about dealing with death. It was about understanding something fundamental about being human that nobody talks about. Here's what nobody tells you about losing family members. We spend so much time focusing on the wrong things that we miss the real lessons hiding inside our pain. And those lessons, once you see them, don't just help you heal. They completely change how you live. Let me start with the biggest lie we tell ourselves about grief. We think it's supposed to follow some kind of neat timeline. 5 stages, 12 months, 2 years max, and then you're supposed to be over it. This is complete nonsense, and believing it will make your healing journey 10 times harder than it needs to be. Real grief doesn't work like a broken bone that heals and goes back to normal. It works more like learning to live with a permanent change in your body. You adapt. You get stronger in new ways. But you're never quite the same person you were before. And that's not a bad thing. When my grandmother died, I spent months angry at myself for not getting better fast enough. I'd have good days where I felt normal, then suddenly smell her perfume on a stranger and completely fall apart in the grocery store. I thought I was doing grief wrong. Turns out I was doing it exactly right. The first real lesson about losing family members is that grief isn't something you get over. It's something you integrate. Think of it like this. When someone important dies, they leave behind an invisible space in your life. You can try to fill that space, ignore it, or pretend it doesn't exist. Or you can learn to carry it with you as part of who you are now. This changes everything about how you approach healing. Instead of fighting to get back to who you were before, you start building a new version of yourself that includes this experience. You're not trying to forget or move on. You're learning to move forward while bringing the best parts of that person with you. But here's where it gets really interesting. The second lesson is that losing family members teaches you something crucial about love that you can't learn any other way. When someone dies, their physical presence disappears, but somehow the love between you doesn't. It just transforms into something different. I used to think love required 2 living people. Death taught me that real love creates something bigger than both people involved. It becomes part of who you are, how you see the world, how you treat other people. My grandmother's love didn't die with her. It became integrated into my personality, my values, my way of moving through life. This realization completely changed how I love people while they're alive. When you understand that love transcends death, you stop holding back. You stop waiting for perfect moments to tell people how you feel. You realize that every interaction is both temporary and eternal at the same time. The third lesson hit me like a freight train about 6 months after the funeral. I was going through her old letters when I found one she'd written to my grandfather during World War II. In it, she talked about how scared she was that he might not come home, but also how grateful she felt for every day they'd had together. That's when I understood something profound about loss and appreciation. We think we need to wait until someone dies to truly appreciate them, but the real lesson is learning to feel that deep appreciation while they're still here. Death doesn't teach you to value people. it reveals how much you already valued them. This completely transformed my relationships with living family members. Instead of taking daily interactions for granted, I started paying attention to the small moments. Sunday morning phone calls with my mom, my dad's terrible jokes, my sister's laugh. These aren't just routine family interactions anymore. They're precious and temporary and deserving of real attention. Here's the fourth lesson, and this one might surprise you. Losing family members teaches you that your capacity for love and pain is much bigger than you ever imagined. Before my grandmother died, I thought I had limits. I thought there was only so much sadness I could handle before I'd break completely. Grief taught me that humans are incredibly resilient, but not in the way I expected. I didn't become immune to pain or learn to avoid it. Instead, I discovered that I could feel enormous sadness and still function, still find joy, still love other people deeply. The heart doesn't have a maximum capacity. It stretches to hold whatever life brings. This revelation changes how you approach all difficult emotions. When you know you can survive the deepest grief, smaller disappointments and frustrations become much more manageable. You develop a quiet confidence in your ability to handle whatever comes next. The fifth lesson is about legacy, but not in the way people usually talk about it. We think legacy means leaving behind money or achievements or having your name on something. Real legacy is much simpler and more powerful. It's the way you influence other people's stories. Every family member who dies leaves behind a collection of stories, lessons, habits, and ways of seeing the world. Some of these things die with them, but others get passed down, sometimes in ways we don't even realize. I catch myself using my grandmother's phrases, making her recipes, even organizing my closet the way she taught me. This understanding makes every interaction with family members more meaningful. You start to notice what you're learning from them, what you want to carry forward, what you want to pass down to the next generation. You realize that you're not just living your own life. You're continuing a story that started before you were born and will continue after you're gone. The final lesson about losing family members is perhaps the most important. It teaches you the difference between existing and truly living. When someone you love dies, you suddenly understand how fragile and temporary everything is. This can be terrifying or liberating, depending on what you do with the information. Most people respond to this awareness by becoming more cautious, more protective, more afraid to take risks. But the deeper lesson is the opposite. When you truly understand that nothing lasts forever, every moment becomes more valuable, not less. Every opportunity becomes more important, not less. My grandmother's death didn't make me more afraid of living. It made me more intentional about how I spend my time, more willing to have difficult conversations, more committed to pursuing things that matter to me. It taught me that the opposite of death isn't safety, it's engagement. Here's what I want you to understand. If you're currently dealing with the loss of a family member, your pain is not a problem to be solved. It's information to be processed. It's your heart reorganizing itself around a new reality. It's love learning to exist in a different form. And if you haven't experienced this kind of loss yet, don't wait until it happens to start living these lessons. Start appreciating your family members now. Start having meaningful conversations now. Start creating memories intentionally now. Start loving people fully while you have the chance. Because ultimately, that's what losing family members teaches you. Love boldly while you can. Grieve deeply when you must. And carry the best parts of people with you always. Death ends a life, but it doesn't have to end a relationship. The love continues in how you choose to live.